The Romans ate 3 meals a day, just like we do, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We don't know much about the first 2 kinds of meals because breakfast and lunch were not socially significant for the Romans in the same way that dinner was. The main item of food was wheat, and in fact the poor ate little else. Wheat was crushed and boiled to make porridge, or ground and baked to bake bread. You could either bake your bread at home, or you could take it down the street and bake it at the bakers, who sometimes offered communal ovens that you could use for a fee. The poor tended to exist on types of foods like beans and leeks and vinegar and sheep lips, the parts of the animal that the rich were not interested in eating. Whereas the cuisine of the rich was distinguished by exotic spices and flavors, lots of meat, lots of cheese, fancy appetizers and desserts. The Romans ate meat and animal products, but it always remained a very expensive food item, and really meat especially was only for the well-to-do classes. So the Romans ate mutton and lamb, their flesh too, but the milk was valuable for making cheese. They also ate pork. Hens were useful for their eggs and also for their flesh and also for their feathers, which the Romans used to stuff pillows and things. Geese were killed for their soft plumage and their delicious livers. Ducks provided eggs and flesh as well. And the Romans were also very, very fond of small birds, stuffed and eaten as a delicacy. And in fact, there were lots of aviaries around Roman Italy which raised little birds just for the luxury food market. The Romans do not seem to have eaten beef very often. The Romans mainly drank wine. In fact, that was the only beverage in the ancient world, and the wine was of varying qualities, just as it is today. So the poor drank acetum, which is basically vinegar, whereas the rich had better vintages. Wine was always drunk mixed with water, and it could also have other additives to it depending on the season and how wealthy you were. So in the winter, it could be warmed up and spiced. In the summertime, it could be mixed with snow, and one could add spices or herbs or seawater to help with preservation and also to flavor it. Wine was stored in amphorae, which were sealed with a clay stopper and then often coated with resin or pitch, because pottery is a very porous material. But even with these precautions, most wines in the ancient world probably did not last longer than 3 to 4 years. The reason that the Romans mixed their wine with water is twofold. One, because this wine is the only beverage in the ancient world, and so if you drink wine all day, you're just going to be drunk all the time. And normally you just can't have that. So they diluted their wine with water to decrease the alcohol effects of the wine, but also because the water in the ancient world is very impure. The Romans don't filter it. There's no additives put in water to make it safe for drinking. So the alcohol in the wine kills off the bacteria in the water, so it's kind of a win-win situation. The Romans did know about beer, but that was considered to be a northern provincial drink and really kind of a barbaric beverage, so the Romans do not drink beer. And they did know of milk as well, but they considered it to be a very uncivilized drink. It was used for infants who could no longer breastfeed, or infants whose mothers didn't have milk. It was given to the sick, but otherwise it was left severely alone. Romans of all classes frequented taverns, although not respectable women, because a tavern is not somewhere you would like to go into as a respectable woman. They are viewed as lower class haunts in our authors. We do have some archaeological examples of bars, and they all do seem to take the same form. So there's a brickwork bar which faces the street, and into it's basically a counter, a L-shaped counter, and into the bar are set really large amphorae or dollii, and it's in those big urns that the shopkeeper, the tavern owner, would place the food items and drink to be sold that day. And then you would come up to the brickwork bar and ask for your food item, and they would dip it out of the amphorae for you. There was also a room in most taverns towards the back with tables and chairs in it. The upper classes, interestingly, reclined when they ate. The way that we eat and drink, that is sitting at a table, was considered by the Romans to be very lower class. So the room at the back did not have couches to recline on, but merely table and chairs. At the Roman tavern, you could get hot or cold wine depending on the season. The tavern owner would also sell breads and pastries and cakes and different kinds of soups or stews. In addition, however, the Romans also had traveling vendors, food sellers that would go around the baths or the forum selling things like wine and focaccia and fruit, maybe chestnuts and fish and sausages, to those who did not want to leave the business area of Rome to go hunt out a tavern for lunch.